I'm going to keep this straightforward because when it comes to a TV that big, the biggest mistake is buying on hype instead of real use. If you're trying to figure out whether an 85-inch mini LED screen actually makes sense for your living room, this review is going to walk you through the parts that matter day-to-day, not just the headline numbers. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the hesitation most people feel is, do I really need a screen this huge? It's easy to picture a cinematic experience, but the practical side is whether your space can accommodate the size without turning the room into a showroom. The TV measures just under 75 inches wide, so you'll need a wall that can handle a 3-meter width or a TV stand that can safely support that footprint. If you've got a modest media room, you might end up sitting too far back and losing the sense of immersion. On the flip side, if your family already watches movies on a projector or you have a dedicated home theater space, the extra screen real estate is a genuine upgrade. The first thing I did after the box arrived was to take the TV out of the box and mount it on a VESA-compatible wall mount I already had. The weight is about 80 pounds, so you need a sturdy mount and at least 2 people to lift it safely. The included voice remote is fairly light for the size of the TV, and it's paired with Google TV right out of the gate, so you don't have to plug in a separate streaming stick. That integration saves a few cords, but you'll still need a solid Wi-Fi connection. I found the built-in 2.4 GHz per 5 GHz dual-band router handling 4K streams just fine. Though if you stream 4K HDR from multiple devices at the same time, you'll want a router that can keep up. Now, about picture quality, the combination of mini LED backlighting and QLED quantum dot technology is where the real value shows up. In a bright living room, the mini LED panel holds its own against direct sunlight. The local dimming zones keep blacks deep without the blooming you sometimes see on older LED panels. When you pop a recent Disney Plus movie that uses Dolby Vision, the colors feel lively but not oversaturated, and the peak brightness climbs high enough to make HDR highlights pop without washing out the mid-tones. That's the kind of everyday performance that matters when you're watching a Saturday night football game or a family photo slideshow. The game Accelerator feature advertises up to a 240 Hz motion rate, but in practice it works by inserting MEMC, motion-enhanced interpolation, frames. For fast-paced shooters like Call of Duty or racing games, the TV does reduce motion blur noticeably compared to a standard 60 Hz panel. The downside is that the interpolation can introduce a soap opera effect if you leave it on for movies, so I recommend toggling the mode based on the content. It's not a native 240 Hz refresh, but the practical upshot is smoother motion in the right scenario. Audio is another area where expectations often clash with reality. The built-in speakers support Dolby Atmos, but on a screen this size a pair of 10-inch woofers can't fill a large room with deep bass. In a quiet apartment, loud dialogue is clear and the atmosphere effects add an extra dimension, but for true home theater immersion you'll still want a soundbar or a small AVR setup. The remote's voice control integration works with Alexa and Google Assistant, letting you dim the lights or turn the TV on with a single command, which is handy when you're juggling popcorn and remote-free navigation. One practical concern that shows up after the initial setup is how the TV handles firmware updates. TCL rolls out updates through the Google TV interface, and they've been fairly regular over the past few months, fixing a few minor bugs with HMISEC and adding new streaming apps. The process is straightforward. A notification appears, you confirm, and the TV reboots. It's not a deal-breaker, but it does mean you need a stable internet connection and a willingness to let the TV reboot occasionally. Who should buy this? If you already own a sizable living space, love watching movies in a semi-theatrical environment, and don't mind adding an external audio solution, the 85-inch mini LED QLED offers a compelling mix of size, brightness, and color accuracy for its price tier. Gaming enthusiasts will appreciate the motion handling, provided they remember to switch modes. The TV also shines for families that stream a lot. The Google TV platform surfaces your favorite apps without the need for additional hardware, and the remote's voice control feels genuinely convenient. Who should skip it? If your room is small, the TV will dominate the wall and you'll end up sitting too far back to appreciate its resolution. Also, if you're a budget shopper who plans to keep the built-in speakers as your primary audio source, the lack of true bass depth may be disappointing. Finally, if you're looking for a TV that doubles as a universal remote for a full smart home ecosystem, you'll find